What's up, everybody? I hope all y'all are doing all right. I just made the best video I think I've made on my Canon G7X, and the whole time the little light was flicking and it went dead. So now I'm having to resort to my phone camera, which is broke, so it looks awful, but we'll get through it. Today marks 6 months of me being called to preach. You may have seen my video a long time ago, and I think I did it like a week later. It said I accepted God's call. It's already been 6 months, and a lot of you have been there since the beginning, and thank y'all for that. I started this channel February of earlier this year. We're already up to 733 subscribers. We're hoping to get to about 1,000. I'm not much of a number person. I don't care if I have 100 subscribers or 1,000 subscribers, but it is kind of a milestone because I have another channel I've had for 2 years and I'm like up to 922 subscribers, and I'm like, finally, I need to get to 1,000 subscribers because it's killing me. It's been 2 years. So this channel has taken off very well, and I'm proud of that, because most of the time faith-based channels kind of tend not to grow fast, because if you look at the bigger YouTubers on YouTube, I'm talking about the ones with millions of subscribers, they're very dirty, they're very vulgar, cuss a lot. Not all of them, but a lot of them do. And I just don't want to spread that message, because YouTube, anybody has access to it from young all the way to old. So I don't want to grow my channel because I'm trying to spread bad things. I want to spread God, and if my channel grows slow because of that, then oh well, I'm doing what God wants me to. Now you may ask real fast, I want to make this fast real quick, but what's happened in 6 months? Well, I've had one kid get saved under my preaching. I've had several people rededicate. It's been amazing when you preach and then after you have altar call, you see the whole church come up and pray. It's not because I'm done anything special. It's just because the messages that God gives me has been, just amazing how He's come to me. I can just open up the Bible and just start reading a verse, and it just comes to me naturally. It's almost like a songwriter who can just write a beautiful song. It just comes to me, and that's how preachers it works. He talks to you through the week, and He just gives you all these ideas on what to preach about, and you put this sermon together, and it's just awesome doing it that way. I know there's a lot of people out there in seminaries and school right now. I believe a lot of them are, they get to really learn how to do all this stuff, but God just said, hey, just preach my word. You ain't got to go learn and, or have somebody teach you how to do it. You just go do it, so that's what a lot of them did in the Bible. Jesus, they was just fishermen. Some of them was fishermen. One of them was a tax collector. He said, follow me. I'm going to make you fishers of men. He didn't say go to college and do all this stuff. He said, just follow me. And, but that's not knocking anybody that does go to school, because it's cool to go there and you learn more in depth about stuff. But my calling was a little bit different. Y'all know my story. In my early 20s, I got a little wild. Then I met my wife. And I was in church during this whole time, even when I did go out and do some things I shouldn't have done, like most 21-year-olds do. But I got married, and my wife got really involved in church. We had, had my little son, who's about to be 4, here in March. And so it's been a journey. In this 6 months, I've preached at 3 churches. Had a great, I've even had one of them call me back to do a service, and another church tried calling me, a pretty big church, but I already had something going on that Sunday and I couldn't make it. So it's amazing, even in our smaller town, there's a bunch of churches in our smaller town. Word goes fast, and most of the preachers I've talked to, they're older preachers, and they tell me, and I'm starting to kind of understand what they mean. They say that I want to reach an audience that they're not able to, because they said, they say most people look at us, what's that old preacher? They see somebody young saying the exact same things the old man's saying, and they say, it may connect to them different. So I've got a window now. I'm only 28, so I can really reach a young crowd in my crowd, which I think is a crowd that needs to be watched, because majority of the people I know my age and from like 25 on up to 40, they're out still partying. They're just not in church. Their kids are not being raised in church, and they're broken families, divorces. It's just crazy. And I just want to try to reach them and let them know, if you follow God, the amazing things He will do. Now, some of you are probably thinking, well, how do you get called to preach? Did somebody call you on the phone? Did you get a message? Did a preacher tell you, hey, you're a preacher? No. When I finally decided I want to step up and do more than just sit in the pew. I used to go to church, sit there, listen to service, walk out in the car, go home. I did my part. And God started talking to me and said, no, Zach, I'm going to use you in a better way. I want you to do more than just sit in that pew. Well, a position came open for Sunday school. I took it about 2 years ago. And just having that connection with a group, our class has grown so much from like 3 people up to about 15 or 16 now in our small little church. And we're only like 5 miles from like a 300 or 400 member church, and about 7 or 8 miles from like a 700 member church. So here's our little church, and we're, so it's hard to grow our little church, but when people love it, they feel welcome, they don't feel judged. You don't have to come in there wearing a suit and tie. You come in there as you are, and people really love that feeling. But having that Sunday school setting is amazing, and that's kind of like my YouTube channel. I have that connection with y'all, when I talk, and we can have a conversation in the comment section. Y'all are just awesome, and y'all motivate me. But just doing that Sunday school, God kept getting me closer. And then during this time, our church had gone to our pastor and said, hey, we want him to be our deacon. Several people mentioned it. So it got brought up in a business meeting. Hey, we want Zach to be a deacon of our church. And they also called out another guy in our church. Well, what happens in deaconship is they look at your life. They set you aside for 6 months to a year. They look at your life, make sure that you are who you say you are, make sure you're going to walk the straight and narrow, and make sure you're going to stick with the church. And after that, they have another business meeting. The preacher comes to you and say, hey, have you prayed during this time to see if God's called you to be a deacon? The other man said yes, and he's an awesome deacon. I love him. He does so many great things in our church. Such a humble man. And but I told him no. I didn't feel that call to be a deacon. I think a lot of people was disappointed, but a lot of them knew that God's using him in a different way. And so I turned that down because I just didn't feel that call. But in my head, I just kept having these visions. Zach, you're going to be a leader over a lot of people one day. You're going to be standing before people delivering my word. And that just kept being in the back of my mind. And every Sunday I'd go to church, it just was on me. Zach, you're a preacher, you're a preacher. Me and my sister talk about it. Me and my dad would talk about it. I said, I just have this feeling, maybe 6 months or a year from now, I'll pray about it. And then it just come up like a few weeks later after me saying I'm going to wait a year and then I'll take it. You don't put a time limit on it. You do it when God calls you to do it. We had testimony night. I came up there and gave my testimony. I come sit down back beside my wife. I was crying. I said, I've been called to preach. And I was just so scared because I was afraid she didn't marry a preacher. Even though she's very involved in the church, that's huge. You marry a man and you love him, he's a godly man. But to marry a preacher is a totally different ball game. Your life's almost in a fishbowl in a small town. And that's fine. We don't mind people looking in, but because, God's the one who matters. But it's just, you have a lot more pressure on you when you're called to preach, and you're set to a different standard. And now that 6 months later, I'm glad we're set to that standard because we're meeting it, I believe. I hope that we are. We're trying the best that we can. We're not perfect people, but we got a God who's living through us that allows us to meet that standard in this bad world. But I come down, she said, you don't leave this church till you tell them that you've been called to preach. And when I got up, I was shaking, and I felt like I was going to throw up. I said, I've been called to preach. I can't leave here tonight without telling y'all. And people were saying, you know what, we knew you was called to preach. We just been waiting on you to say it. So 6 months later, I preached at 3 different churches, had a little young man get saved, had so much great things happen. It's just been amazing. He's given me this, it's just amazing. I can't explain it. You got to get involved in church. You got to get involved with godly people. Don't hang around the bad people. They said, well, Jesus hung out with sinners. He went there and he tried witnessing to them. And what did he tell them? Before he departed, he said, go and sin no more. A lot of times we hang out with some people. We've all got friends. I've got friends who still party like we did when we was 21, who still going out and doing this stuff. If I hung out with them all the time, it's going to put more temptation and more pressure on me to get into what they're doing. I have to hang around godly people and just pray for them. I don't treat them no different. I don't judge them. They do what they want to. I was at that point. God had to work in my life. So all I can do is witness to them. But you got to maybe change your set of friends and have godly people build you up, and you'll see how special you are. Because you are special. Christian, you've got to do more for God than just sit around. He wants you to work. You got a talent. You just got to figure out what it is. It may be a missionary. It may be a teacher. It may be a preacher. It may be a clerk in the church. It may be just cleaning the church, organizing events. It may be something. You've got to figure out what it is. A lost person. Jesus died on the cross for you. Hell's not designed for you, but there's a lot of people going to hell. But it's not because God don't love you. He sent his son to die for you and me for our sins. And all you got to do is go to him and ask for forgiveness and know that he died on the cross and ask him into your heart. It's as simple as that. And I hope that's what you do. So God bless y'all. It's been 6 months. It's been a great journey. And I'm going to continue just to push on for God. I love my little channel. I'm going to try to get to 1,000 subscribers. But every time I make a faith-based video, I lose like 10 or 15 subscribers. But then I gain them back pretty fast. So God's blessing me in so many different ways. And I'm so thankful for all that he's done. And using just an old sinner like me to do something great. God bless you all. Thank you for watching. Thank you for staying subscribed. And thank you for all the great comments. I know I don't have a chance to catch up on a lot of them when y'all comment, but I try my best, to reply back. But I'll holler at y'all later. Another 6 months. We're gonna make another 6 months. May 1st will be here for you know it. And y'all just pray for me that I do great things. I let God do great things through me, I guess is what you mean. Because I'm not great. God's great. If I let him live through me, then my life can be great. God bless you all. See you later.